Hey everybody out there in the internet world, comic community, and Dark Avenger universe, and welcome to a, unfortunately day late, comic book review of the week. This is episode 170, meaning there's only 30 episodes left.
Oh my god, we've reached 30.
Yes.
That is awesome.
This is the last three with a number after it that you're going to be seeing, at least until we hit 300, which, that's about 4 or 5 years down the road. So, yeah, DC Comics announced that WTF thing that they're going to be doing with their fold-out covers. And they already revealed the Red Hood. I'm sure they revealed others. I just have not been online this week yet. But yeah, WTF from DC Comics.
Wow.
Interesting. Once again, for those of you that don't, missed out on why this comic review is a day late, I did tell you guys about the update video. I shared a link on my feed on my channel yesterday, which is technically today, but it'll be yesterday for you guys because this is probably going to go up on Tuesday. Because, never mind, it is Tuesday already, so it's probably going to go up on Tuesday morning. The review is a day late due to a lot of things that are happening on the weekend. Once again, it's on the update video for Ink. However, there are updates for this channel. I said on Ink that I do want to make an Avenger log on. I just couldn't do it yesterday, which is 2 days ago for you guys, during the Ink update. I will be doing an Avenger log. I might do it tonight. It might go up right after this video. It probably won't. It depends on how much time I have tonight. I do have to do some in-depth reviews for Ink, even though those probably won't go up until Wednesday. I probably won't be doing a bunch of those tonight. So I'll see if I can get an Avenger log in there in the middle of all the videos, and we'll see where that goes. But anyway, just to note, there is going to be an Avenger log coming for this channel soon to announce a couple of new things coming on the channel. Mike was going to go monthly, but because he doesn't get too many books, and a lot of his books are going into, like, The Punisher.
Yeah.
We're going to keep going. So I'm wasting 5 minutes of time. This book came out, by the way, the books that were released in this review were released the last week of January, January 30th, I believe.
Yep.
2013. But this was released a week before that. I forgot, January 20-something. Wait,
the last week of that?
3rd. January 23rd, 2012. And this is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Secret History of the Foot Clan, issue number 2. This series is awesome. I really do enjoy the artwork in it. I mean, it's not something that I'd say, hey, get the artist from here and put him in the regular book. But for a miniseries, the artwork is really good. Story is solid. You have Shredder, who is looking to unlock the secrets of the Foot Clan in the past. And he got the teacher from the last issue to help him unlock said mysteries. And you have the Turtles, who are actually at the very beginning of this. You have Kari, who is taking the Professor to Shredder, and then you get this epic fight between Raph and Leo, and Kari and her 4 foot ninjas. But they disappear. Shredder tries to convince the Professor to help him out, and he's offering him money, he's offering him technology seeks.
I like the shiny paper that they use.
I do too.
Because it's really nice.
And they do go back in time, where they talk about Saki, who's supposed to betray his father and become the evil person from the past. I forgot his name again. Tatsu, whatever. Here. Tatsu Takashi. They do have Hamada Yoshi in here, and Oroku Saki when he's older. And it actually, you could see in the past that Hamada Yoshi really tried to help Oroku Saki. However, Oroku Saki was visited by the woman from the previous issue, and that's where he found the book of the Foot. And it ends with an awesome splash page, which I will show, where the Turtles infiltrate where Shredder is to get the to prevent anything from happening with the secrets of the Foot Clan. And you just have Shredder, he just comes out and says, I'll handle this myself. And it's just awesome. Next issue is going to be awesome. Cover for the next issue looks awesome. I believe this is a 4 to 5 issue miniseries, so either this is the middle of the series or this is the the next issue will be the middle of the series. But this epic series, you know, a lot of people, myself included, weren't really too thrilled, especially with the artwork on the cover, I believe, to the first one. But man, I'm pleasantly surprised, and I'm glad to say I was wrong. This book was awesome. Invincible has hit its 100th issue, and I did not get the chromium cover. Unfortunately, money is... Back then it was tight, now it's even tighter, but I did get the cover, the wraparound cover. I did get that. I did manage to at least get that. Would I have liked to, would I have liked to get the chromium cover? Absolutely, positively. I would have loved to have the chromium cover. Money is definitely not a good factor. The artwork in this book is awesome. Story is also awesome.
That's a good poster.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
In the very beginning of the book, everybody believes that Mark was killed by Dinosaurus. We find out later on in the book that it was a clone that Dinosaurus pulled out of... he was trying to clone Mark because Mark had lost his powers. And apparently there's a way to comatose the... I forget what he... Yeah, he's in a coma, like the real...
Oh, you mean
he has him in a coma. Okay. Where Mark can hear everything Dinosaurus is saying, but he can't move or do anything because there's some type of a frequency that puts his kind of people in a comatose state. And he explains to Mark how he switched out the bodies to make everybody believe he's dead so that they can work, in secret for the rest of their lives and do stuff. And Mark's like, no, maybe you were wrong. And that's when Dinosaurus kind of wakes Mark up and he's like, you know what, you were right. What I did, I should never have done what I've done, and you have to kill me, so even if it is for the greater good of people, I don't do it again. So, there is your, how do I put it? That's basically the big death in this issue. It wasn't Mark, it was Dinosaurus. And then it turns out Mark thinks he's going to jail, however, instead he's going back to working for, I forget his name, oh goodness, what's his name? He's going back to work for,
Cecile?
Cecil. He's going back to work with Cecil. And I love this scene where everybody believes Mark's dead. It reminded me of Smallville, and he just shows up and says, yeah, it was a clone. Remember the episode where Clark was going to die? He was shot because he lost his powers, and then at the end of the episode he got them back.
Yeah, because it was like a transfer power thing, yeah.
Yeah,
Martian Manhunter gave back his powers. Wow, Marvin Martian.
And what I'm very happy about in the next, the ending was definitely a shocker, but I kind of called it, and a lot of people did actually, and I was surprised a lot of people did. Mark's girlfriend's pregnant.
Wow.
That wasn't really a huge spoiler to me, in my opinion. When he came back from the war, yeah, I did get the issues, a couple issues in. When he said, gee, you got fat, I said, oh boy, she's probably pregnant. And look at that, I was right. So, I'm looking forward to the next issue, and also in April is Invincible Universe. I might be moving Invincible at some point to my digital comic reviews. Guys, I know I'm a little late so far. I mean, this is the last week of January, so technically I have until my next comic review to be on time with my digital comic review. And I hopefully will be able to get you guys that, but with all the work that's going on ink right now, I don't know. I do have the folder with all of the digital comic books there. I just have to take the time out to either shoot it like this, or I'm going to probably do a slideshow with the covers. Probably won't be able to show you guys internal artwork for certain books, but I'm going to try my best.
Didn't you say you're going to do monthly?
Yeah, it's monthly. This is the last week of January, so technically the monthly digital review needs to come out now.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully it'll be out, but I really liked Invincible. That's it for indie books. I do have other indie books from this week. Stay tuned for further announcements on the digital comic review. It should be soon. I'm going to try my hardest to get some work done this week. I really am. It's just with everything else, there are times where it gets a little hard. Batman Beyond Unlimited issue 12. This book was really awesome for the Superman story. I enjoyed Lobo. I enjoyed the fight between Superman and Lobo. It turns out Superman 20 years ago interfered in some affairs on a planet, and now it's coming back to bite him because he's the reason why this planet actually has gone down into war. And they explained they were slaves, and because Superman gave them arms, now a war began. And you have Jean Jones, who makes his appearance also. Lobo basically just leads the people to Superman, and that's about it. They take him away then to their home world, and that's kind of where the story ends. Also, you get to see at the very beginning of the story Clark, or now he calls himself Cal, working in the fire department, not on a call, but in the what do you call it, the fire station. Fiona Staple actually did a piece in this book. For those of you that don't know who Fiona Staple is, she works in Saga. She is the artist for Saga, and she is the artist. She's the artist behind the Beyond Origin Micron. So the second story in here is a origin story of Micron, who kind of reminds me of the Atom. And then we jump into Batman Beyond, and there's really not that much for Batman Beyond. He gets owned by the Joker King. Dick Grayson shows up to try to help the situation. Cat is being asked by Max. Sorry, not Cat. Max. I keep thinking she's Cat, like Cat Grant for some reason. I don't know why. Max is asked to help Undercloud because she's a better hacker than he says. I thought I was the best hacker out there until I came across your work, Max. Together, you and I are going to change the world. And that's where it goes back to Terry, and Terry's like, I've caught my breath, it's time to go. So he's going after the Joker King. I don't know why, but the Batman Beyond story is the weakest in this book right now out of everything, because the Batman Beyond story is the exact same story since issue 1, and it's 12 issues later, and we've yet to see an end to the first story arc for Batman Beyond. However, Superman Beyond is in its second story or third story. I don't know if you want to count the last story, the part before this, as a end to the last story, beginning to this story. But Superman's already moved on to his next story. The Justice League isn't in this one. It's an origin story instead because that finished. But Batman is still going. The Batman Beyond story is still going. How much longer is this Batman story going to last? We'll find out next month. Or if you're reading them digitally, because these are digital first stories, you'll know then. But I like mine in hardcover more than digital when it comes to my books. I do like to have a hard copy, especially of the stories I like Superman. So this book was really good. The Batman Beyond story is very short, very to the point, and at this point I think anybody who's reading this book is either reading it for Superman Beyond or for the stuff that's in between Superman Beyond and Batman Beyond. But I'm loving it, loving this book. Next is Mike's book, which is Justice League Dark.
Yep, Justice League Dark, issue number 16. This book is really amazing, and it's smoking indeed. Like, just the battle between the Justice League Dark team and Commander Viker was good. Even when Deadman faced the Internal Core, I love the artwork. And
that's the winner to the face-off.
Yeah, this, for those who watched Face Off, he is actually the winner in this. And let's just say Viker gets a fatality on him, so he go bye-bye. But yeah, so
that was a really short cameo.
Exactly. And then we get introduced to these guys from Underground that took Timothy
That was so short. That's like the Stan Lee Who Wants to Be a Superhero thing, where he appeared in like one piece of a sci-fi movie, and the sci-fi movie was so bad.
I mean, really bad, like graphic,
like it was this big snake, and it was like a 2-second cameo, and it's like, really? They did all that work, and I believe his comic didn't even make it. It made like 2 issues, the very first winner, and then they just axed it.
I think it was 2, and they were going to do 3, but who knows. But anyway, we learn about what they are, who his name is, and I say an in-depth comic review on Dark Avenger Inc., so you can go check it out. Meanwhile, the Enforcer kidnaps Frankenstein, Black Orchid, Constantine, and Exandu because their powers in the unknown world are not...
Poor Deadman.
Yeah, but Deadman, if you guys want to see what happened to him, you gotta pick up this comic book, but yeah. And then we get introduced to the Hunter, who is the ancestor of Timothy Hunter, and when they're talking about the portal to next world, and the ending does not look so good. After Dr. Peril says that I've doomed us all with this thing that's going on, next issue, Crisis on Two Worlds. Oh boy. this could be good or bad.
Why does DC have the urge to always say crisis on whatever?
I don't know, but if there's something that's going on in Justice League Dark, I am definitely looking forward to next issue.
Yeah, there's little whispers about there being a crisis on Infinite something coming soon, or some type of a crisis hitting DC Comic within the next year or two.
Is that like a Superman copyright right there from before?
No.
Nope. It wasn't Superman?
No.
It was Superman.
So we got a couple of books left and 12 minutes left, so let's hope we can get through at least DC. Masters of the Universe, Origin of He-Man, one-shot. This is a really good book. It's the origin of He-Man, how Adam finally embraces the power of He-Man. The artwork is awesome. There's really not much to say except this is actually an origin book. It gives the origin of how Skeletor invaded Adam's home, and Adam finds out about Grayskull and about the power of the sword, and he embraces his destiny. One kin who is light, one kin who is dark, and one will try to destroy the world and cover it in darkness. The other is the one who will fight the darkness away, and
it looked like
that's
a quick
He-Man.
read, kind of.
It was a really quick read.
Like less dialogue.
But it was good, and the artwork was great, and you know what? It came out at an ideal time because, and this was a good book, if you're not into Origins, don't have to get it, but this was a good book, but only because at the same time, if that didn't give you enough of your He-Man fix, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, issue 6 of 6, the ongoing series is coming in another couple of months. I believe it's coming in either March or April, but until then, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, issue 6 of 6. He-Man remembers, and all of the rest of the Masters of the Universe remember everything now. And they go after Evil Lyn for info. The artwork, He-Man,
it's a wraparound.
Awesome. And yes, this is a wraparound cover. I didn't know that until right now.
Well, there you go. And
I read this book and I didn't even notice that.
I was just about to say no one's half about G.I. Joe, but this is He-Man. Wrong reference there.
Jeez, I gotta start looking at the cover. I'm so used to ignoring the back covers. So Skeletor and everybody else readies at Castle Grayskull. Wow. I love how they say in a speck on the map village, in a less remote spot, the Masters of the Universe are figuring out what they're gonna do next. And He-Man wants to go alone. His father and the rest don't want him to go alone. They want to follow him into battle and protect him. And one thing that He-Man said kind of really got me like, whoa, I don't believe it. And for those of you fans of this character, I apologize. But Teela says, I say it's too dangerous, and she's saying for him to go alone. What if he puts another a whammy on you? And this is where He-Man says, Orko's not here to betray us this time.
What?
I stopped. I read the next page, and then every time I read a panel in this page, I went back to this page where he is in a serious face, and he said, Orko's not here to betray us this time.
Since when did Orko betray?
I was shocked because I remember the 90s series, and Orko was one of the characters that I would least expect to ever see betray He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. And I have a feeling, and they better address this in the ongoing series, because I want to know more about how Orko turned on He-Man and the others.
Are you sure it wasn't in the past issues? Like it just popped in there without explanation of...
If it was, then somebody tell me what issue and I'll look at it, but I know. When I read this, I was in shock.
I gotta see it myself, because that's a shock.
Orko is not here to betray us this time. I was like, whoa. Whoa. They better answer some questions with that in the ongoing series, or they better retcon that and make sure Orko's back on the side of the Masters of the Universe, because I grew up with Orko.
Unless maybe he's going to go back, and that's why they don't have an explanation.
So He-Man against his father, Zorders, and the other Masters of the Universe leaves a night before or a day before, and Teela, of course, follows behind, and he goes after Skeletor, like he said, alone. And him and Skeletor, the rest of the issue is just the epic battle between He-Man and Skeletor, and it was awesome. A spectacular book. A spectacular fight. And in the end, I love how He-Man says, from me, Uncle, I am the host. The sword channels power of Grayskull from me. I don't just have the power, I am the power. And that's where, because in a scene right before this, Skeletor knocks the sword out of He-Man's hand and sends it hurtling down into the depths of the fire pit. And it turns out He-Man doesn't even need the sword. And Teela says, is he dead? And He-Man's like, I'm going to say yes. And then he whispers, liar. Learn from this, uncle. I have no more pity left to give you. And he throws the staff down, and you just see Skeletor epically beaten. And it turns out this head that's been advising Skeletor as his minion, it turns out there's a lot more than meets the eye with this head. And yeah, let's just say the ending to this book definitely hints 100% towards the ongoing. So if you didn't know if there was definitely going to be an ongoing then, you definitely know now. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to the ongoing series. I love how it says to be continued question mark. What do you think? Yeah, I think so, especially because the ongoing was announced before this miniseries even ended. And to be honest, I don't blame DC. It's a brilliant move. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, awesome book. I liked it. I don't know why certain people didn't. Maybe because I never read a He-Man comic up until this point, so that kind of leaves it open. That's kind of like me in Earth 2. I enjoy it more because I never read JSA before. Right. Even though I dropped Earth 2, but now next week I'll be picking it up again. But yeah, really good book. I highly recommend this miniseries. I believe the trade paperback will be out next month. Sorry, not next week. Next month. Or the month after that. But this was a really good miniseries, and I highly recommend it. I don't know if they'll stick the two origins of He-Man and Skeletor in there, but if they do, that's even more of a reason for you guys to check it out, especially if you're He-Man fans. 2 books left for DC. First, we have Red Lanterns, issue 16, and I gotta admit, and a lot of people agree with me, that the Rise of the Third Army made the Red Lantern book a little bit more interesting again. Not a lot, because I really wasn't that interested in Red Lantern. Like, I was, but the direction it was going, I just wasn't. Like, I ended up backing out of the book, I believe, by issue 5 or 6. And then, now I came back with the Rise of the Third Army, and I'll be continuing forward all the way through until the tie-ins stop, and then I'll make my decision then. Still hate Bleez's guts. I love how the Manhunters are, he resurrects the Manhunters, but there's an Alpha Manhunter that's leading the Manhunters, so it's up to Atrocitus to stop the Alpha Manhunter so he can lead the other Manhunters, and he actually does in like 2 pages. And he then becomes leader of the Manhunters. While back on Earth, Rancor kind of gets his revenge on the person that killed his granddad. However, his granddad, like, he has the ability to create constructs, like other Red Lanterns aren't able to do that, apparently. So, Bleez actually is interested in that, and she offers him everything just for him to teach her how to do constructs, to give her his power. And he's not willing to do that. And then they're still trying to figure out why the planet, why the Red Lantern battery is still having trouble powering up. And then, I forgot what's his name. Ratchet comes across the old not Red Lanterns, but the old darkness that is part of the Blood Ocean or whatever. It's all in issue 0 of Red Lanterns if you want a bigger explanation. So, turns out that Atrocitus now, like I said, is leading the Manhunters, and it all leads into the Green Lantern New Guardian annual, Green Lantern Corps annual issue 1, which I'll be talking about next. However, Atrocitus finds something in the middle of the planet, and it turns out Krona is going to be making an appearance in the next issue. Next issue is the Wrath of the First Lantern, but Krona is going to probably be in the next issue, or some type of an incarnation of Krona, and I'm looking forward to that because that's the source of Atrocitus' rage. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, and a lot more happened in this book. But for those of you that are interested, you can definitely check it out. It's a really good book. I'd definitely say check it out. Which then leads me into the last book from DC, and I'll have 3.5 minutes to talk about it. Green Lantern Corps Annual number 1. This book was good. However, it did not have an ending. The ending to this book is more along the lines of a bridge to the next story arc, which really doesn't surprise me because this whole thing was to set up the Wrath of the First Lantern, And then the Wrath of the First Lantern is meant to set up whatever the third and final thing is, which is going to be equivalent, as Jeff Johns said, to Blackest Night. So all of this is leading into the third story arc, which is 2 story arcs from now, but yeah. So Guy Gardner is going back to Oa to stop the Guardians while I'm going to say that the damn squirrel Green Lantern, because I'm not going to try to say his name anymore, and Simon Baz are trying to figure out about the Book of Black. They get to a certain page in the Book of Black and they get sucked inside. And I love this page here where, I hope it's this page, it's not, no, yeah, where they get sucked and teleported to where Black Hand is, and he's in the Chamber of Shadows, and I loved, this was an epic page. I just loved it. So next issue of Green Lantern, I guess, is going to have Simon Baz versus the Black Hand. So that's going to be interesting to read. Also, John Stewart and Fatality are putting together, Mogo's doing most of the work. He's putting himself together, and then they don't understand why, but Mogo actually pulls them into his core. And at first they think it's to kill them, but we find out later on in the book that it's more than, it's not really that. It turns out the Guardians find out that Mogo's coming together, and they send the Third Army to attack him. But then we jump into Guy Gardner, who found out that the rings aren't being sent because the Guardians are keeping them in a chamber to be destroyed. But of course they're not doing it yet. Why? We don't know. Thank God Kilowog was around though to save the day, because Guy Gardner always goes in headstrong. And it turns out we get to see other former Green Lanterns from older series back, finally again. Mogo comes back together, destroys the Third Army, and it turns out he actually didn't kill Fatality and John Stewart, he saved them. I guess it's an eye for an eye kind of thing. John Stewart saved him from destroying the Lanterns, and he saved John Stewart from being assimilated into the Third Army. So, Guy Gardner attacks the Guardians, but it's more of a, kind of like a self-sacrifice, as he calls it, and Kilowog severs the link between the Guardians and the Green and the Lantern on Oa. Third Army attacks. Kyle Rayner and the new Guardians show up, who didn't see that coming, and it goes to Lanterns. And of course, by the way, the rings get free. Guy Gardner gets his Green Lantern ring back. Surprise, surprise there. And then it goes into Green Lanterns versus Third Army, and of course Atrocitus's Manhunters show up, so it's Manhunters and Green Lanterns versus the Third Army, and then they focus their attack on the Guardians, who decide to draw even more power from the first Lantern, and that causes a problem. And yes, the Guardians then are dominating over the Green Lanterns and Kyle Rayner, who is a White Lantern, but it breaks the first Lantern free. So Mike, we are at 20. Yeah, no, I turned the sound off. I'll fix it for the next one. So the first Lantern breaks free, and here's the abridged part. He's coming. He says your core, your Manhunters, your army, everything you ever created, Guardians, will be no more, and the universe will once again be mine, to be continued. I believe it says it here, to be continued in Green Lantern 17, Wrath of the First Lantern. And it's going to be connecting through Green Lantern Corps, Green Lantern New Guardians, and Red Lanterns yet again. And then the next story arc, same thing. Really good book. If you're enjoying Green Lantern right now, this is an absolute must-buy. Out of all 3 annuals, this was my second favorite. Green Lantern was my first, and of course New Guardians in the end. So guys, come back to the next part where we'll be talking all Marvel. It's all Marvel, baby. See you guys in part 2, where we'll hopefully finish up. See you guys there.